Hi friends, today we are going to talk about SAP Flexible Real Estate. So, SAP Real Estate Management is essentially a product offered by SAP to support residential, commercial, and corporate real estate processes within the ERP system. It is natively integrated with SAP Finance, SAP Controlling, and also with SAP Project Systems and Plant Maintenance. SAP Real Estate is also very much a part of SAP S/4HANA suite. It can be deployed as on-premises solution or as a private cloud edition. In general, even SAP ERP central component is also available. Like I said, SAP Real Estate is generally used to manage your residential, commercial, and corporate real estate processes. It is very much integrated with finance, controlling, and plant maintenance. Um, and we can deploy the solution as on-premise solution or as a private cloud solution also. Now, some of the major features in SAP Real Estate is uh, first is to manage the lease in and lease out contracts, adjustment of conditions, service charge settlements, and space management. Leasing contracts are essentially when, as a company, you lease um, you lease a piece of land, a piece of a building, or a whole building, or some space in the building from a landlord, and so you manage those contracts. What are the payable dates and workflows essentially? Yeah, and lease out contracts are those when you are the landlord and you are leasing out to other parties known as tenants. Yeah, so leases is essentially relates to your account payable, and lease out is your account receivable contracts. We will discuss in deep later on in subsequent videos about these contracts. And adjustment of conditions is you can think of, say, annually, the rent has to be updated. It has to be increased by, say, 1%, 4%, whatever percentage. So in the contracts, these prices are maintained as conditions. Now you can update those conditions and can project what is the uh, cash flow going to be like in the subsequent months, in subsequent years. Condition of adjustment also means that you, as a maybe as a landlord, I'm leasing out my flats to certain tenants, and I have done some refurbishment, um, and I want to pass in the cost on the rents. Yeah, so that can also be managed, which we call it modernization of the apartment in SAP terminology. Maybe I have joined the two units to make it a bigger unit, and the rent will be subsequently increased accordingly. So, these conditions of rent can be determined by the size of the property, also by the fixtures available in the properties, like is there a floor heating, is there an air conditioning provided in this unit. So, all these we will talk about when we go in deeper in the adjustment of conditions. One more thing, uh, we can also determine the rent based on the condition of the building or the from the year of construction. So how old the building or particular unit is. So that can also be managed. We need to think about the bigger picture here. We are not talking about just one or two properties or three properties. We are talking about big complexes. We are talking about commercial shops, commercial land, and so an automation and or system administered contract management becomes very important. Third thing would be the service charge settlement. Now, in service charge settlement, what we it's essentially about the service charges. Suppose it's a mall, right? In the mall, you have various lifts, various shops are there. So the cost of the maintenance of the lift, or the cleaning charges, the garbage disposal charges, the central air conditioning charges. These charges, there may be an agreement that needs to be borne by the tenants or the shops or shop owners within in the mall. Yeah. So how you are going to capture those costs, those invoices, and how you are going to settle, pass on to the tenants, right? Now you can consider various factors, like the size of the shop, size of the space, right? And maybe revenue, generate revenue collected by the particular shop. So based on certain conditions, you can determine how you, in what proportion you want to pass on the service charges to these shops. You can do it equally, you can do it in a proportional way. Space management. So space management is essentially the topic where we are going to discuss um, how much of a meter square area in your building is occupied, and how much is still vacant. There could be, you can tag an opportunity lost in the vacant spaces, in your vacant units, right? And you may have this report, and you can see whether you can get this filled by decreasing the rent. So all these information can be gathered in a very systematic form within your SAP integrated space. Yeah. Also in space management, we will talk about booking of particular spaces. So suppose you are going to book a meeting room. You want to also know what kind of meeting room it is. You want a 5-person meeting room, and so is it available, when it is going to be available, and you can also charge like per meeting basis on this thing. Then we have parking space management also. We will go through this as we move on. So typical business processes in SAP RE-FX. So asset management processes related to the contract valuation in accordance with IFRS 16 US GAAP. So all the processes, all the reporting is compliant with IFRS 16. Real estate controlling is very much possible within SAP REFX. You can do cost planning, you can do intercompany activity assignment, cost settlement, which is of course we are going to do, and profit center accounting. Yeah. So we can clearly see that there is a strong integration with SAP Finance and controlling. Planning and controlling of new building development projects. So also we can integrate it with the SAP portfolio and project management, where in the portfolio you can have new projects, new construction projects, which you can bucket into different portfolio or items, right? And you can do a very rough cut planning of how much cost is going to be incurred on a certain building erection. um, and you can track those expenses, you can book timesheets, you can do the procurement against it. Um, the maintenance of the building and the modernization project, like I just discussed before. The modernization is essentially means that whatever changes we are doing in the building, yeah, so it is a factor to calculate the rent in the contracts. Then comes the purchase order processing and commitment management for operation and maintenance of real estate. So all these processes are very well supported by SAP Real Estate. Of course, to utilize these features, SAP Finance and Controlling must already be up and running. It cannot work in isolation. Uh, yeah. Next thing is the overview of the business processes in REFX. So, real estate management involves the processes, systems, and manpower required to manage the life cycle of all acquired properties as defined above, including acquisition, control, accountability, responsibility, maintenance, utilization, and disposition. So, as you can see, SAP REFX is very well integrated with the property portfolio. So, within one property portfolio, how many construction projects are going on or in progress or to be planned, right? And once the building is erected, uh, you need to manage the contracts and the leases. Yeah. And we may not talk about the land use management and move management. We will definitely talk about workspace management in subsequent videos. Key date reminders are essentially key date when you say the notice period to be served to a tenant, um, rent modification date, from which date the new rent is going to be applicable, and the reporting. REFX is natively integrated with the plant maintenance. So when we say maintenance and repair, so just think about a unit, and suppose you are a tenant in a apartment. You are owning and you are renting a flat, right? And in your apartment there is a problem. Maybe your uh, water heater or geyser is not working, right? So how are you going to interact with the building concierge or building owner or slash your landlord? And so what SAP helps us here is that you can create a notification, a PM notification from the rental unit itself. I will show you later on. And you can create a notification, and that notification can then be converted into a PM order of a certain type. We can define various types, whether it is an electrical repair or a mechanical repair or a plumbing repair. All those things we can do. We can set the work centers, who is the relevant personnel needs to go and attend, what is the planned duration and what is the actual duration, which he can later book based on the confirmation at the time of confirmation. And then comes the settlement also, uh, where the cost will be incurred, where it will be settled. So that will be defined in the settlement rule of the PM order. You can very well settle it on the rental unit itself. You can settle it on different profit centers, or maybe a bunch of rental units. Yeah. So then comes the supporting processes. In supporting processes, what the important one is the folder management. So whatever documentation is there involved in the contract and lease management, say the physical copy of contracts, the condition of contracts, can be managed via integration with the DMS, document management system. And yeah, and the controlling part. So all the cost center business area assignment are there in the master data of the REFX. So it is very tightly integrated with the SAP CO. It is integrated with the payables and receivables. So as you know, like the leasing contract are the payables, and the lease out contracts are essentially the receivables. Then comes the asset accounting. So a building is essentially your asset also. So you have the option of calculating the depreciation of the particular building, and it is a very well established feature in SAP Finance. Yeah. Project management. So project management comes either when you are, suppose you are erecting a new building, you're planning to have a new building constructed. So from there it starts. You can have your if we can leverage SAP project system, we can have a project created for that. We can create different WBS elements like excavation, level 1 completion, level 2 completion. So all these things can be done, and one WBS could be your regular maintenance. Yeah. So this will be part of your investment portfolio. And when about the acquisition disposal, so it is not necessary that we are always going to construct a building. A company may think of acquiring an already erected building or already functioning building. Yeah. So that's how we can acquire the whole asset. And in disposal, why disposal is important? Suppose your building is very old, it is not fit to live in. Here, you may think of, making it non-available in your portfolio. So so that it won't suggest you that these spaces are vacant and they are available to, create a lease out contract like that. And you may also think that now we have to demolish this building and we can use the same parcel of land for some other purpose. Yeah. So in this case, again, it is going to incur costs, right? So the demolition is not a small thing. It requires involved cost. It involves a lot of planning. So there also we need to consider the cost involved here. Some of the key stakeholders in SAP Real Estate, which we are going to talk in detail, are the owner. The owner, as I already mentioned, owner can be the company itself, and owner could be some other party from whom we are leasing in a piece of land. So suppose if a company like Shell, or BP, they may get into lease in contracts with local vendors to establish their petrol pumps, their tiny shops associated with the pumps, right? So in that case, the local landlords will be the owner, and you will be the tenant. But in other case, suppose you are a big builder like JLL, or any other company you can think of, they are constructing a mall. So in the mall, you have a lot of you have several floors. You have shops which are essentially your rental units, and you may lease out to different vendors. Yeah. So owner and tenant are the key stakeholders. Then the contract manager. Contract manager is essentially the person who is responsible for managing these contracts. Um, they are responsible for maintaining and tracking terms and condition of contracts, being proactive on the reminders to ensure critical data management concerning uh, what is critical data management. Essentially, the closeout dates of the contract, when the contract is ending, extension or renewal of contracts, any kind of issue raised in the contract or communication related to the contract will be managed by the contract manager. They also are responsible for providing accurate and up-to-date information for the contract related correspondence and documentation. Next is portfolio manager. Portfolio manager, a typical the role of a portfolio manager involves to supervise or an entire real estate portfolio, and the key challenge for a portfolio manager is to add value by optimizing the space. He needs a high level view of the KPIs, key performance indicator for location in a particular region, like how many are owned versus leased, space metrics that will show the utilization efficiency and obtain real time cost, and for each location to help improve operational efficiency. For quick evaluating the financial performance of the building, he needs access to capacity, cost data, and space productivity to get real time insights. In addition, he would also need to have building usage information like high level building details, space type allocation, and capacity of dedicated and shared spaces. Next would be the space manager. Um, the typical role of a space manager or planner is uh, he's responsible for the utilization of the buildings. Again, need to optimize space planning as even control utilization parameter KPIs in order to request an increase or decrease of portfolio size. Companies underutilizing an average of 30 to 40% of their space on a typical workday. So therefore, we it is very imperative that we see the operating how well our spaces are doing, how many number of available workspaces per building are being efficient or getting a net revenue. Now, the technician and slash engineers are the persons, or you can say business partners, who are responsible for um, catering to any kind of problem or incident arises in the building. Like I just mentioned, like any kind of electric repair is going needs to be performed, or plumbing work needs to be done. So this will be they will be the relevant person. Work can be assigned to them, and they can they are responsible to complete the work, record the actual man hours goes into completing of that job, and can have they can also have some service contract created with them and get paid according to the work done. Last is the facility manager. So facility manager is responsible for maintaining the entire attributes facility of an area of assigned buildings. So you can assign a facility manager to a building, and he will maintain all the attributes like how much is the area of particular rental unit, what are the fixtures available in a rental unit. So he generally responsible of maintaining the physical characteristic of each location within its asset and equipments. He is also responsible for annual facility planning, facility financial forecasting, work specification, installation, as even engineering plans and construction. So these are the some of the key stakeholders in SAP Real Estate. Next, we are going to talk about the life cycle phases of an asset in SAP Real Estate. So, suppose we are going to the proposal within a company is to erect a shopping mall. Yeah. So in this, we are in right now in development phase. We are in the idea or request phase. You can also say that. So first, business will decide the strategical reason of having a mall in a certain piece of land. What benefit it will do to the company, and all sort of planning, the budgeting, the planning, the timelines will be decided, will be discussed on, and will get a go ahead whether to go ahead with the construction or not. Yeah. In the construction, in the second phase, which is construction slash acquire, so we will just focus on the construction here. In the construction phase, it's essentially the actual starting of the project, the construction project. So uh, we need to check if what procurements we need to do, what are the raw materials required, like cement, uh, what machinery, machinery like cranes or so many others construction equipments we are required. What is the man labor? What is the labor required at what phases? Yeah, and is there any is the project as a whole is going as per the plan? What is the delay and what is the cost of the delay? All this kind of analysis and the cost incurring can be done in this particular phase. um, the cost can be again transferred to the asset which is then created at the end of the construction. Yeah, and after the asset is created, suppose in our case the shopping mall is created, then comes the operate phase. In the operate phase, the typical operations are like the daily maintenance of it, any kind of incident report, like anything is broken, anything needs fixing, and the contract management, the lease out contracts management. So this is the typical daily basis operation will be there. Last phase is the dispose phase. So once the building or certain rental unit is not fit uh, to be leased out, what we can do, we can mark that accordingly in the SAP system, and um, they will not further appear as available units, and maybe we can demolish. We can The company has decided to demolish the whole building as such due to various reasons. So this can be again tracked against a project and demolition. So what sort of labor based on their qualification is required? What is the timeline of demolition? And what are the raw materials are required? And what is the cost incurred in this whole project? Yeah. Next is the process overview of commercial activities. So again, these are the what we have discussed earlier. The contract management is basically the key functionality in SAP RE-FX, adjustment of conditions, service charges settlement, maintenance cost settlement. In RE-FX, you will see two type of views of a same building. One is the architectural view and other is the usage view. So let me go deeper. Uh, Usage view is mandatory view. You have to have it. So usage view is you can say think of it from the finance perspective, SAP FI perspective. This view is mandatory if you want to have leasing lease out contracts and want to see the cash flows. Yeah. So to represent the actual use or function of a real estate object such as a retail space, office and garage. Wherever the purpose of having an architectural view is to represent the physical and technical structure of a property, like building blueprints. So you have the building blueprints, it will be synonymous to that particular building blueprint. Why we want to maintain the architectural view is because uh, so suppose for the integration with plant maintenance, the maintenance operations, this is very important to have the physical and technical structure of the property recorded in SCP. Yeah. So, like I said, architectural view is optional. It is used for detailed planning or if integrated with external blueprints. Usage view is mandatory for contract creation and posting to financial accounts. Hierarchy. It can present the physical component and measurement. So, yes, it is very important that physical component. Suppose this building What sort?